The Giants have a major decision to make between now and March 16th, and that's what to do with Eli Manning. Manning's set to be 38 years old when the regular season begins. He's set to count $23.2 million against the cap, but he hasn't won a playoff game since Super Bowl 46 following the 2011 regular season, and over the last 7 years has only guided the Giants to the postseason one time. You look at the talent on the roster, especially on offense, and you have Saquon Barkley, who made the Pro Bowl and was named Offensive Rookie of the Year, over 2,000 yards from scrimmage and 15 touchdowns. Odell Beckham Jr., again, one of the top 3 players at his position at wide receiver. Evan Ingram, a dynamic pass-catching tight end. And you look at the Giants and what they've accomplished over the last several years with Eli Manning, it hasn't been good enough. So in my opinion, if the Giants bring Eli Manning back, particularly at that cap number, whether they know it or not, they're punting on the 2019 regular season. They need to get a quarterback of the future in the building this offseason. That needs to be priority one for Dave Gettleman in the front office. And I'd argue that bringing in a competent veteran such as Nick Foles, such as Teddy Bridgewater, maybe even Case Keenum if he becomes available via free agency, would all be upgrades over Eli Manning. And I think that the Giants would be wise to follow the blueprint that helped the Eagles win a Super Bowl, and that is acquire your rookie quarterback, in the Eagles' case Carson Wentz with the number 2 pick, sign a veteran who's capable of competing, whether that was Chase Daniel in Wentz's rookie year or adding Nick Foles the following year. You overinvest in the quarterback spot. Don't underinvest. Don't bring back the known commodity in Manning just because it's comfortable. Go out and draft Dwayne Haskins, draft Kyler Murray, draft whichever one of these top quarterbacks that you believe has the chance to be a franchise quarterback of the future, and bring in a Bridgewater, bring in a Foles, because when you look at Manning and his body of work, we can all talk about the issues along the offensive line, and yes, he was sacked 47 times a year ago, but only 16 of those sacks came over the second half of the season. By the way, the Giants were only 4-4 over the second half and lost their final 4 games of the year with Manning at quarterback. So I look at the offensive line, and yes, they need to rebuild the right side after what Nate Solder and Will Hernandez were able to do on the left side, but they were ranked number 27 in the league according to Pro Football Focus, the offensive line was. And you look at some of the teams behind them. The Houston Texans, a worse offensive line than the Giants, they won the AFC South. The Los Angeles Chargers, a worse offensive line than the Giants, they made the postseason and beat the Baltimore Ravens on the road in the wild card round. And the Minnesota Vikings came 1 win shy of making the postseason. So even though offensive lines aren't ideal, other quarterbacks around the league are able to find success and make things happen when things go wrong. And I just don't believe that Eli Manning has that ability at this stage of his career. And if the Giants bring him back, I think they're punting on this season, and they would be wise to not only draft Haskins or Murray, but sign Foles or Bridgewater to set up a competent veteran to compete now while having your franchise quarterback of the future on the roster set to take over in 2020.